in a while, hardly ever, the perfect pattern and yarn come together right when I need it, and that is the project we are talking about today. I am super excited about showing you my Floral Boho Shawl. You may have heard me say I am going to be trying to add a few more projects into my channel like this summer and into the fall, because I'm really working on adding pieces to my wardrobe that I absolutely love. I have struggled in the past to do tutorials. Number one, because I didn't have the right equipment, but Sydney helped me with that. And then number two, I couldn't find the right projects. Like, I wasn't feeling super motivated to do them. I didn't want to do the same beginner stitches that are out there and taught by people with way better tutorial setup, equipment, experience than me. So I was like, I just shied away from doing tutorial type things. Now this project, it isn't going to be like a specific tutorial per se. It's going to be more like the videos I did that was like, let's make matching shawls. Like those ones. I'll have those linked below if you want to see those. And in that case, what I did is I showed you the yarn I used, I showed you the pattern I used, and then, you know, the hook and all of that stuff. Let's get into it. I think this shawl is so good at portraying like that boho vibe that I'm going for. The colors, like definitely like the more autumnal jewel tones I absolutely love, like deep and rich. And then I love the floral pattern, because even though this yarn is 100% acrylic, it is one of those where it is breezy enough. I was wearing it at work and it was like just enough to keep my arms covered a little bit more, because I kind of don't like the length of these sleeves. I wish they were just a smidge longer. It just kept my shoulders or my arms a little bit more covered and kept me just a smidge more warm, but without being super sweaty or anything. That being said, I think you could also do this out of a wool. I think that Knit Picks Chroma would be a wonderful, like, kind of upgraded yarn to do this in. I think that if you were also looking for another option, Mary Maxim's Prism, I think that's an acrylic yarn. Or if you have any, it's discontinued, but if you have any old Yarn Bee Chloe, that would also be a great alternative and a great way to use it up. I used Loops Threads Facets, 100% acrylic yarn, and 279 yards are in the 3.5 ounce skein. This color is called Autumn. It is a 4-weight and it is like that roving style. The label says to use a 6mm crochet hook, but I used a 5.5 on this project because I wanted these flowers to be a little bit tighter. I used nearly 3 balls of this yarn. There's a little bit of extra, which I think is good, because if you do want to make this,
sorry.
Because if you do want to make this, if my tension was a little bit tighter than you, or something, you know, your tension's a little bit looser, there's definitely a little bit more for leeway. And I also did mine, I did not connect them as I go. I did it all afterwards, and I didn't know how much extra yarn I would need to connect them. Now, full disclosure, I know myself pretty well. And I absolutely hate weaving ends in. I left that for the last, and I am going to be honest, I did a lot of snipping on the back side, because there is a front and a back side with this floral pattern. And I wasn't giving this to someone else. I wasn't selling this. So I did make quite a few snips, and I am okay with that, because I know myself well enough to know it would have totally stopped me from finishing this project. It would have sat in my whip basket for a year or so, being 99% done, but not being able to. So I cut the ends pretty short when I was sewing this together, and you might want to leave them longer to sew them in. Like I said, 3 balls of this Loops Threads Facets will work great. And that's, you know, just a little under 900 yards, since these were just under 300 yards per ball. So if that helps you deciding, you know, where you want to go from there. There are quite a few colors in this Facets line. I just don't go to a Michael's very often because there isn't one near me. But what you want is like a color changing yarn. Not necessarily, it doesn't have to be an ombre, it doesn't have to be a stripes, but as you can see, this does just kind of, you know, go from one color into another color, like from the gold into the brown, and it just kind of smoothly transitions. The pattern came very shortly after I had bought the yarn, and it's from, I know I struggle to say this channel name, Brunacticality. It's Bruna and then like practicality. But she had this, she calls it the Hawaiian, I think it was like Hawaiian flower motif. And I'm going to have that linked below where you can see her instructions. She used a cotton and she also did multiple colors. But when the thumbnail came up, I was like, you know, it just kind of like grabbed me and spoke to me. And I was like, I'm going to check this out. And I watched the video, and as I'm watching her, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can totally use that new Autumn Facets yarn I just got. And when I say new, this yarn has been out for like, I think a couple years. It's not like new to Michael's, it's just new to Shannon. There really wasn't much difference in her and my flower other than the fact that I just used one yarn that was color changing, and I did not use separate yarns for the different areas. Because again, I know myself, and that part would definitely be problematic because it would create more ends to wave in. Right. So here is the flower that we are starting with, or we're going to end up making. And I do want to apologize in advance because my dog is running around like a maniac, and you will hear him panting and also his little toenails clacking. So I will do my best to edit that out, but just kind of be prepared for that. So this is a finished flower I have. This is another one. When I started making this project, I did not know exactly how many I was going to need. Absolutely love these. And like I said, this isn't my flower. I have seen a couple online like this, and I will link where I got mine from, and then I will, if I can find the other one I found, if that makes sense, I will also link that for you. So I have a little bit of yarn left over here. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Instead of doing a magic ring for these, it really was easier to do a chain of 5 and then go ahead and slip stitch into the first one. Normally I do prefer a magic ring, but this just seemed to work out a little bit better for this project. And I am going to go ahead now and put in 12 single crochets. Go ahead and slip stitch into that first one. You can always pull that a little bit tighter there, but that is the center of our flower. We're going to go ahead and do a few more single crochets. So I'm going to go ahead and single crochet right where I came out of. 1, 2, 3. And after I've got those 3 in, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to chain 10 and then single crochet right where I came from. I'm going to do this 4 times in total, so 3 more times. And for a far more detailed explanation of this, I will definitely link the original video and where I got this amazing motif from. And we're going to go ahead and slip stitch into this very first single crochet that we made, and will be in the center of the motif from here. And now we're going to start double crocheting. So we are going to put in 14 double crochets in each of these petals. And we're just going to go right into it. Trying to get used to my new filming equipment, and so it's kind of like right in front of my face. I feel like I'm struggling just a little bit here to try to see around my phone, so it's kind of funny. If you do choose to go through and use the facets yarn here like I have, you will find that because of the roving style, there are thinner bits and thicker bits, and so it's not going to be perfectly symmetrical. And I think that's the same with some of the alternative yarns that I'll link as well. But I just think it really kind of plays in and just goes even more with that floral idea, since in nature you don't have identical flowers and identical petals. Go ahead and I'm going to slip stitch, but I'm going to go a little bit lower here and kind of go into that, bring it all the way up, and then slip stitch again. So we are getting closer here. We've got a little bit further to go, but I just love this so much. So what I'm going to do now is we are going to go ahead and we are going to slip stitch to create the outside ridge, the one that is right here. And in Bruna's video, you know, she used just different color yarn, which you can totally do, but I just, again, I just thought this was the perfect pairing of yarn and pattern. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to slip stitch up here to the 7th one, and then we are going to chain 3 and then slip stitch into the 8th and then continue to go on. We'll go ahead and we will make that second like longer stitch there, and we'll just repeat that until it is done. You just want to be mindful you're not going into this empty space here, that you are actually going into that very first crochet. And we're making 1 stitch on top and then doing our slip stitch. And Bruna says that's what gives it like the cute little almost zigzaggy type look. So this one definitely turned out a lot more monochromatic than these other two. I'm so in love with it. Why don't we take a look at how it's all put together? In Bruna's video, she shows how to join them as you go, and she also puts 4 of them together so you can see how that is. And I don't know if she is going to be doing a separate one where she's making something out of it or if I missed it, but I decided that this would be really perfect for a triangle shawl. So it was pretty easy. It's just one. You're just adding 1 extra flower for each row. So, the first row has 1, the second row has 2, the third row has 3, and so on. And, you're just connecting them at the different points where they connect, the 4 points together there. So that is what holds it together. Now, at a certain point, I did go ahead and change it up a little because I did not want a lot of extra flower petals up in my neck area. So I did make this into a slight V, and it's not even like a perfectly symmetrical. You can see over here, and I will have in my blog, I'll have it all written out so you know how many to go in each row. But this way, it just made it so you don't have like flower petals all bunched up and flopping over in your neck shoulder area. So check out the blog post if you would like to see how I assembled this. I am so happy with how this project turned out. I love it. I will have a blog post all about it. I will have links to the products I use, links to some alternative products and everything in both the video description and the blog post. So if you want to check that out, please do. I hope you make one. If you do, I would love it if you would send me pictures. My email is always down in the description box as well, or you can always tag me on Instagram. I would love to see it. I will talk to you soon. Bye.